The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Lord Jesus Christ.
It was on, probably. Now? Yes. Okay, we've got it the right way. It's a question of getting used to things. Be patient. I don't come here every Sunday. What were we hearing just now? Well, maybe something a bit familiar with each of us, if we're at all human. Have you ever felt, what on earth is he or she talking about? Maybe it's in some lectures you get, in classes. What on earth is he talking about? Or you can have the other thing. You're saying something and explaining as best you can. Oh, he, she, they don't get it. So, misunderstanding. And here in the gospel, we have the classic misunderstanding of, well, this time James and John, and then obviously the other disciples too, that they're not left out of it at the end, are they? So, James and John, sons of Zebedee, sons of thunder, they're also called. So, quite a pair. They, along with Peter, were with Jesus when Jesus raised the daughter of Jairus from the dead. No one else was there in the room. They were there. They saw who Jesus was. They were there up on the mountain when Jesus was transfigured. They saw. But they didn't get it, right? Because they asked, "Teacher, what we want you to do for us, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." You'd almost say the cheek of it, but that's what they did. That's what they were like. And Jesus, with patience, said, "Yeah, so what is it you want me to do for you?" Well, it's quite simple. When you come into your glory, one at your right hand, one at your left. That's all we ask. Now, not much, yeah. This is Mark's gospel, obviously. Matthew, you probably know, is a bit kinder. He has the mother of James and John asking for them. Okay, which we're not quite sure, but there we go. It's up to you. The point is, they don't understand, because then Jesus says, yeah, okay, but are you prepared to drink the cup that I'm going to drink? Or be baptized with the baptism with which I am to be baptized? And of course, they still don't understand, so they say, yes, we can. The first reading we had was from the Isaiah, the passage where there are 4 songs of the servant. And the bit we had today may be a bit familiar to those who know the Good Friday service, because the whole of that song comes in the Good Friday service. So actually James and John knew this in Isaiah. They'd heard that if he gives his life as an offering for sin, he shall see his descendants in a long life, etc. Through his suffering, my servant shall justify many, and their guilt he shall bear. They heard this. This is referring maybe to the prophet, maybe to Israel, but actually to Jesus now. Jesus is the servant who suffered on behalf of all. And that's the one James and John are asking to be with when he comes in his glory. But the only way you can get to the glory is through the suffering, through the cup, as it's called, the cup of suffering, and the baptism of suffering. We know suffering. that's maybe we're experiencing in ourselves, some physical problem, mental. We can see it in others. We can see, the baby on the television who clearly is starving and there's no real hope for that baby. We can see poverty. We know it. This actually is the World Day of the, kind of freedom from poverty, elimination of poverty. It's there and we work on it. It's there, and all kinds of other suffering. The family home that has been devastated, leveled by flood, wind, whatever, we've seen that in this country through the storms or through war. Suffering is there. This is the cup and this is the baptism that Jesus is trying to point out to them. And it takes a bit longer for them to realize, as the rest of the disciples who get angry, at these two. How? Why are you putting yourselves forward? And Jesus said, well, no, it's different in my kingdom. Gentiles, the leader and those who are with the leader lord it all over the rest. They're boss. That's wonderful. They sit on the right and the left in the big banquet and the glory and all the rest. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. It takes us a whole while to get that truth right into us. Don't be so hard on James and John. It's a lifetime. And at some point, we may well find ourselves standing at the foot of the cross, in our own suffering or a deep suffering of another person whom we love. Then to realize that it's for the life, for the ransom of many. Or remember right at the end of the second reading we started with, to find grace for timely help. It's then that we find it, and then we realize really what James and John were asking. Be patient with them and with ourselves.